Hey guys, how's it going? 6:59, February 20th. Sorry about not putting a video up yesterday. Got a little busy, tied up working and then hanging out with the wife, but I will be putting up two today. Today's first vlog will be on a car buying experience that I just recently went through when I was trying to. I got some bad news about my car. That some leaks had started happening and that it was going to cost me obviously obscene amount of money to have them fixed. So I started looking into leasing a new car and trading mine in. And so I was going through the process of doing that, doing a bunch of research on different brands, ironed it down to two brands, test drove a couple different vehicles, and ironed it down to one brand. And then as I was going through that, I would get offers on my car that weren't very high. I thought that they were a little low, but either way, I thought that I had to get rid of my car just because I didn't want to keep putting money into it. So I take my car over to, like I said, a couple different dealerships, found kind of the car that I wanted to replace my car, which was another SUV, and decided on a color and everything. Went to go test drive it. Test drove fine. Had 3 rows of seats, which was a requirement. Same thing that my car has. And ironed everything out and was making a decision. So as I'm taking the time to discuss things that day, I met a lot of, and this probably took the course of 3 to 4 days to complete. Most people who end up going to get a car, sometimes it'll be 1 day, 2 day tops. Mine ended up being 3 to 4 days because I was trying to shop around for the best deal. And while I was doing that, I encountered a lot of adversity that I had to deal with, and a lot of people, you know how car salesmen can be. And I actually worked at a dealership myself, not as a salesman, but as a lot manager. Where I handled inventory and things of that nature, but I would always be a part of the car buying experience in one way, shape, or form. So as I'm going through this over the course of 3 to 4 days, it's getting relentless. I mean, I'm not seeing the prices that I want. I have really good credit. I mean, probably as good as you can get whenever you're going to buy or lease a car. And so they're telling me all these things. They want me to fill out one of those things so they can run your credit. So I kept telling them no because I was planning on leasing a car, and whenever you lease a car, your credit only manipulates the money factor, which can also be manipulated by the dealership as well. So I know if I'm going to get a good deal, it's going to have to be based off the price of the reduced price of the vehicle that they're trying to sell me. Very little things have to do with credit when it comes to leasing things. You come in one of the 5 tiers, and depending on which tier you come in, and I already had knew my credit, so to me it wasn't a factor. To them it was, but I just kept telling them no until we can get to a ballpark that I was comfortable with. So, I mean, I ended up deciding on the car, and then I tried to go to a separate dealership to get a better deal. That dealership had more incentives that were offered to me because I was associated with a particular bank. So I ended up going to that dealership, and it was also, both of these dealerships were opposite of each other. So one was north, one was south, and but around the same amount of distance from my house, 20-something miles, each dealership. So as I went to the other dealership, I really tried my best effort to negotiate the best deal possible for me for the same vehicle that I found at the other dealership, but I just obviously wanted to get the best deal possible regardless of the other interactions that took place. So as I'm going to do that, we finally agree on some numbers, and I'm actually, the second vlog I'll be doing today is dealing with unruly people that I had to deal with during this car buying experience. But as I was going through these things, a lot of different battles came up. I had to battle with with a lot of different people over a lot of different subjects, and I lost a lot of the battles because they just weren't willing to bend even after I showed them certain like lease calculators through their website, through my website, and to get the numbers to match up to where I wanted them to be with the credit that I had. I mean, it was, to me, it was simple. It was a no-brainer. This is what the car costs. This is what monthly payments should be based on, the terms that I'm looking for, the months and mileage that I'm looking for to lease the vehicle. And it wasn't my first lease either. It was my second lease. So I knew what to look out for. So as I'm going through these things and putting all these things together, I mean, we end up coming to terms on a deal, and we're waiting around at that second dealership in order to finalize the deal. And then they tell me, and it's the last day of the month that they're offering this deal. I always, if I'm going through a car buying experience or leasing experience, I always wait till the second to last day or the third to last day of the month where they're really pressured to make more sales. And it happened to be towards the end of the year too, where they're, that's one of the best times to buy, purchase or lease a vehicle. So I picked strategic timing as well. So as we're waiting to finalize the deal, they're trying to locate the car for me. They didn't have one on the lot, and they didn't have, they were just trying to locate a car for me through another partner dealership. So they come to me at the end of the night after, haggling with them about price and all these other things, and tell me that they can't find the vehicle that I'm looking for that evening. So they can't do the deal. So I said, fine, whatever, we'll go. And they had, said some things to me, which I'll bring up in the next vlog. But there was a lot of things I encountered during that car buying experience, and as I was kind of beaten that day and we're going out to dinner with my family, I start to rethink my strategy. And I was like, why get rid of my car if nobody's going to give me what they want for it? Plus, I put a lot of money, time, and effort into the vehicle, into my SUV that I was trying to trade in. And so I rethought the strategy and decided on a strategy of, and I had mentioned it to my parents that evening, a strategy of keeping my SUV and getting a sedan. They would be better on gas mileage because I would be using the car to commute, and it would be much easier deal to construct financially because the car would end up being cheaper, which would mean lower monthly payments, and essentially I could be less than where we thought, and I'd be able to keep my car and slowly repair it as need be. So those were the new ideas that I had, and I went back to that dealership the following day, and they kept calling me in the morning, telling me that they couldn't locate the car on the following day, and I just told them, hey, this is what I'm looking for now. I'm going to end up keeping my car, and I'm looking to get into your one of your sedan models. This is my new monthly negotiated price, depending, that's reflective of the substantial decrease in the price of the car. So they calling me, we're back and forth, and their initial number was higher than the price we had negotiated on the other car. And for me, I was, simple math would tell you that, okay, they took away the price that they were going to give me for my car, but the price between the cars was, let's say, $8,000, and they were going to give me $2,000 for my car. So there's a price difference there of $6,000 still, that the sedan is worth less than the other car. So as we're going through that, I said, we're still at a $6,000 difference. How in the world do you get a higher monthly payment for a $6,000 less car? At least $6,000. That's being generous. So they're like, oh, I don't know. And then they're like, incentives change, things change, deals change because it was the last day of the month and it's a new month. I said, no way. And that's when I started getting the idea that the dealership I was dealing with was kind of being a little fishy and beating around the edges. So I decided I'll go back to the first dealership, even though they don't offer the same incentives that my bank offers. that I would give them a try because they were very nice in the beginning. I did encounter some hurdles there, but I'll mention that in the next vlog. But as I was going through that and going back to that dealership, I told them what I was looking for and how the terms have changed, so it would be a renegotiated deal. I would be keeping my SUV, looking to lease a sedan, and these are the colors and the model that I'm looking for. So they didn't have, I gave them 2 color options. They had one there on the lot. So they told me, when could I be down that they would be able to do that deal. So I said, before I get down there and waste anybody's time, I want to make sure you can do the deal. Run the numbers by your manager and let me get an okay over the phone, and then I'll come down. So I did just that. I got the okay from the manager. His initial price was a little bit above. It was like $5 more. And so I told him that I was standing firm on the initial price, so he came down to $5, and we agreed over the phone, and I was there shortly after to pretty much sign and drive for the vehicle. Because they said if my credit was what it was, it'd be easy deal. It's basically a sign and drive, so I came in with no money down, got to keep my trade, and ended up leasing a new vehicle for the price that I picked. Not that the dealership picked, but that I picked, that I was comfortable with. And it was substantially less than the initial deal where I would have been losing my car for, an even SUV swap. Now I got to keep my SUV because I still need the space from time to time. But I got a sedan where I could still commute, and then if something were to happen in my vehicle, I still have a backup car. You know what I mean? So to me, there's a lot of good things that came out of the situation, a lot of bad things that I encountered throughout the process. Like I said, it was a 3 or 4 day process, and God bless my parents for sticking with me through it the entire time. My stepfather would always come to help watch my daughter as I was going through the transactional period and the different engagements with the different people that I encountered throughout that car buying experience. But I lost a lot of different battles throughout that, which made me rethink my strategy, and then ended up coming out with a better strategy than I thought was possible, and a better outcome than I thought was possible. And it seemed like I was almost trying to force the first deal, regardless of whether they liked it or thought it was possible, and they really didn't want to work that hard for it. So I went back to the original dealership, like I said, with a new set of circumstances and a new set of details, and they were able to put the deal, construct the deal to my liking. Sorry about that, it's my phone ringing. But they were able to construct the deal to my liking, which was a huge benefit for me. So as I'm going through this, I'm kind of realizing something, and my parents told me maybe you just shouldn't be. Maybe these are all just signs that you shouldn't be getting the car right now. And I said, well, that could very well be true, but maybe I tend to look at things on a brighter side for myself. So after rethinking the strategy, I was like, well, if I could do this, then it would benefit, we would have an additional car should my car end up, tanking or not working out, or just the transmission give out or the engine give out. It's got over 200,000 miles on it, and I need a car that gets better gas mileage and that's going to be more dependable in the long run. So as we're doing the main thing that I noticed is that like I said, I lost a lot of battles along the way, but I did end up winning the war, which is a common phrase in the military. Sometimes you lose the battles, the individual battles, but you'll end up winning the war, which is the overall battle, the overall goal that you're trying to accomplish. And that was a huge experience, and I was so devoted in time and effort. And I was explaining this to my wife and a couple of people that I came into contact with, and family and friends, that it kind of made me realize something, that if I put the effort and energy into something that I want to have happen, and I mean, I spent sleepless nights over that 3 or 4 day period just trying to make sure that I was making the best decision possible. And I put in some serious research time in order to construct the things that I wanted to have happen, and picked out cars, picked out colors, down to the detail of the model that I knew that maybe the salesman didn't even know. But I felt so prepared going into those individual engagements that it gave me the power and the confidence in order to have the outcome that I truly desired. And if I didn't maintain that, I could have given up. I could have fell out maybe on the first or second day. But after 4 days of vigorous rigmarole to get to where I wanted to be, even after some losing, individual battles with the dealerships, and erring on the side of caution, I ended up winning the war, like I said, and having an outcome that I'm now happy with, truly happy with, because it's better than the outcome that I thought would be possible. And even though I do have my car, which is my SUV, which may be giving me problems from time to time in the future, I took the time and addressed, one of the more serious issues up front, and I have the option to take it slowly when it comes to getting things repaired with that car. Whereas before I was kind of a bind in a crunch, and I just thought it was going to be a complete loss. And I ended up getting a second opinion on the vehicle from a separate mechanic, and got some fairly good feedback, and we have a plan to address the issues as they progress. We handled the most affluent problem first, and we took care of that, and now we're moving on to other things. Like I have to bring my car back to them over spring break and have them take a look at the car and see if any of the issues are progressing or developing more. So that's definitely something that I wanted to share with people. I know that I have the capabilities within myself that if I put the time and investment into doing certain activities where I have a specific goal in mind, I'm the type of person that I won't stop until I get there. And sometimes I'll try and force it and force it and force it. And if it doesn't work out, I take a step back, readjust, and then I continue to move forward and try to find an adaptable outcome that it can best suit me. Even if it's an outcome I wasn't planning on in the beginning, like having 2 cars, but now I have that choice, and one of those cars are paid off, so it's not like I have 2 car payments. I was able to incur a second car payment, and if my car were to take a dump, for lack of better words, I still would have had to incur another car payment. And it's great not having a car payment for the short while that I didn't have one, but the peace of mind that I have now lets me sleep better at night in a certain way. But that's one thing that I want to stress to people today, young people and old people alike, that you may encounter these small battles whenever you're trying to do something, but don't let that discourage you, because if you keep pushing, you keep moving forward, you may end up getting a better deal or a better outcome that you could have not possibly imagined. So that's what I'll leave you with for the first vlog. I'm going to be doing a second vlog here shortly, a follow-up one, just describing some of the people that I encountered that day that weren't the nicest, and then some of the people that I've had to deal with in the military as well that weren't the nicest people that I've had to work for. So I'll be getting back in touch with you guys here shortly, and I'll see you then. Thank you guys again for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.